The mop moved slowly across the floor, leaving wet streaks that caught the moonlight. Hyun worked quietly, the way she always did. Her hands were rough from years of cleaning, and her back ached from bending over toilets and sinks. She wore simple clothes, a gray uniform that had seen better days. Nobody looked twice at her. That was exactly what she wanted. The Bright Star Orphanage was silent at this hour. The children slept in their beds upstairs, dreaming whatever dreams children had. Director Bora had gone home hours ago, trusting Hyun to lock up when she finished. 3 years of work had earned that trust. 3 years of being invisible, of being nobody special. 3 years of pretending she was just a woman who cleaned floors. But Hyun was not just a woman. She was Kael'Vira, Empress of the Draconis Imperium, ruler of 1,000 worlds, commander of fleets that could crack planets in half. Or at least, she used to be. Now she was just Hyun, the night janitor who sometimes brought extra snacks for the children and never complained about the work. The universe thought she was dead. Her own council had made sure of that. They had tried to kill her when she spoke of peace with humans, when she said that the small, fragile creatures deserved respect. Dragons did not make peace with prey, they said. Dragons did not lower themselves. So they had betrayed her, ambushed her, and left her floating in space. But dragons were hard to kill. Even half-dead, even burned and broken, Hyun had survived. She had crashed on this backwater colony world called New Haven, far from the cool world where dragons ruled. She had hidden among the humans, learned to look like them, learned to be like them. And she had found something unexpected. She had found peace. The front door rattled. Hyun's head snapped up, her mop freezing mid-stroke. It was 3 a.m. Nobody came at 3 a.m. Her hand tightened on the mop handle as her other senses reached out, the ones that humans did not have. She tasted the air and found blood. She moved to the door fast, faster than any human could move, but not so fast that she would leave marks. The door opened before she reached it. A man stumbled in, his shirt dark with blood. He was human, middle-aged, with a rough look of someone who lived on the edges of the law. In his arms, he carried a child. Behind him, 3 more children stood in the doorway, holding hands. "Please," the man gasped, falling to his knees. "Take them. Hide them." Hyun caught him before he hit the ground, her janitor's strength hiding the true power in her arms. She looked at the children. 4 of them, different ages, scared and quiet. Too quiet. The oldest girl watched Hyun with sharp eyes, protecting the others with her body. The youngest boy clutched a worn stuffed animal, his face streaked with tears. But it was their eyes that made Hyun's breath stop. Golden eyes. All 4 of them. Eyes that caught the light wrong, that reflected like an animal's eyes in the dark. Eyes like hers. "No," Hyun whispered. "No, no, no." "The Empress's children," the man said, blood bubbling on his lips. "I was paid to kill them, but I couldn't. Not children. Not her children." He grabbed Hyun's arm with surprising strength. "They are hunting them. The dragons are coming. Please." She loved us. She loved humans. These children, they're the proof. The man's eyes went distant. His hand fell. Hyun caught him gently, lowering him to floor. "Dead." She looked up at the 4 children, these impossible children, and felt something crack inside her chest. They were hers. She knew at the moment she truly looked at them. The oldest girl had the sharp cheekbones of a man Hyun had known 5 years ago, a soldier who had hidden her when dragons came hunting. The energetic-looking boy had the quick, clever eyes of a merchant who had made her laugh. The shy girl had the gentle features of a scientist who had shown her kindness. The youngest had the sweet face of a farmer who had taught her about growing things. 4 men, 4 loves, 4 children she had never known existed. Dragons did not get pregnant easily. Dragon children were rare, precious. But hybrid children, children born from dragon and human, were supposed to be impossible. Yet here they stood, living proof that impossible meant nothing. "Who are you?" the oldest girl asked. Her voice was steady, protecting the others even now. "My name is Hyun," she said softly. "I work here. You're safe now." "That's what the last person said," the girl replied. Then men came with guns. Hyun looked at the dead smuggler, then back at the children. She could run. She could take them far away, hide them somewhere the dragons would never find them. But she had been running for 3 years. And these children, her children, looked so tired. They needed more than running. They needed home. "Come inside," Hyun said. "Let me get you food. Then we'll talk." She led them to the kitchen, for small shadows following her through the dark orphanage. The oldest girl kept the others close, watching Hyun's every move. Smart child. Cautious. Good. Hyun made sandwiches with steady hands while her mind raced. The smuggler had said they were coming. Dragons. Imperial hunters. They would have followed the ship here, tracked it through space. She had maybe a day, maybe less. She needed to hide the children's scent, mask their energy. She needed to make them invisible. "What are your names?" Hyun asked, setting plates in front of them. "I'm Minji," the oldest girl said. She pointed to each child in town. "This is Taeyang, Hannah, and Junho." "Pretty names," Hyun said. "Her children, her babies." They sat in her kitchen eating sandwiches, and they had no idea who she was. No idea what they were. "Why do you smell like stars?" Junho asked suddenly, his young voice cutting through the quiet. Hyun froze. The other children looked at their brother, confused, but Junho stared at Hyun with those golden eyes. "I don't know what you mean," Hyun said carefully. "You smell like my dreams," Junho said, "like the big lizard lady who flies." Taeyang laughed nervously. "Junho has weird dreams." "Sorry." But Minji was watching Hyun now, really watching, her eyes narrowing. "You're not scared of us," she said slowly. "Everyone else is scared of our eyes." "There's nothing scary about you," Hyun said. It was true. They were beautiful. Perfect. Hers. "The men who came said we were monsters," Hannah whispered. "They said we shouldn't exist." Hyun knelt down in front of the small girl, her heart breaking. "You are not monsters. You are children, and you deserve to be safe and loved and happy." "But we're different," Hannah said. "Different is not bad," Hyun replied. "Different is just different." Above them, the sky began to glow. Hyun's enhanced hearing caught the sound of engines, big ones, cutting through the atmosphere. She looked up through the kitchen window and saw lights descending from orbit. Ships. Dragon ships. They were out of time. "Listen to me," Hyun said, turning back to the children. Her voice was calm, but her mind was already planning. "Tomorrow, Director Bora will come. She will help you. You will stay here at the orphanage. You will be safe." "What about you?" Minji asked. Hyun smiled, a sad, small smile. "I'll make sure of it." She would protect them, even if it meant revealing herself, even if it meant fighting. These children, her children, would live. They would grow up. They would be safe. Outside, the dragon ships landed in the distant town, and Hyun the janitor began to plan for war. Director Bora arrived at 8 in the morning like always. She was a kind woman in her 50s with gray hair and tired eyes that still smiled. She found Hyun in the kitchen making breakfast for the 4 new children. "Hyun." Bora stared at the children, then at the janitor. "What happened? Who are these kids?" "They came last night," Hyun said quietly. "Their guardian died. They have nowhere else to go." Bora's face softened immediately. She knelt down to look at the children at eye level. "Poor things. Of course they can stay. We'll make room." She paused, noticing their golden eyes, but said nothing about it. Good people did not judge children for how they looked. The dragon ships had landed 5 miles away in the main town. Hyun could feel them even from here, their power pressing against her senses like heat from a fire. They would start searching soon. She had maybe hours, not days. For the next week, Hyun changed her routine. She came to the orphanage during the day now, telling Bora she wanted to help with the new children. Bora was surprised but happy. Hyun had always been so quiet, so distant. Now she seemed almost protective. The other orphans welcomed the 4 newcomers quickly. Children were good at that, accepting others without questions. But Hyun watched her 4 carefully. They were different from normal children in small ways. Minji was too strong. Hyun saw her lift a fallen bookshelf by herself when another child got trapped behind it. The bookshelf was solid wood, heavy enough that 3 adults would struggle. Minji picked it up like it was made of paper. The other children cheered. Minji looked scared. Taeyong felt too much. He always knew when someone was sad or angry, even if they hid it. He would sit next to crying children before they started crying. He would avoid mean kids before they did anything mean. It confused him, made him nervous. Hannah disappeared sometimes. Not ran away, just disappeared. She would be sitting at a table, then suddenly she would be on the other side of the room. She phased through solid objects without meaning to, especially when she was scared or excited. She kept apologizing, kept saying she did not mean to. Junho dreamed things that came true. He told another child not to climb the big tree. 2 hours later, a branch fell from that exact tree. He said it would rain on Tuesday. It rained on Tuesday even though the weather report said sunny. He drew pictures of places he had never been. Then they would visit those places the next day. Hyun knew what was happening. Their dragon blood was waking up. They were too young to control it, too untrained. And every time they used their abilities, they sent out small pulses of energy that dragon hunters could track. She had to teach them control. But how could she teach them without revealing what she was? Without revealing what they were? She started during the evening hours when other children were playing outside. She called it special game time with just the 4 of them. They met in the old storage room in the basement where no one went. Minji, Hyun said gently, "When you feel very strong, I want you to breathe slowly. Count to 10. Feel the strength, then let it go quiet inside you." "Why?" Minji asked. "Because being strong is good, but knowing when to be strong is better," Hyun replied. She taught Taeyang to close his mind, to imagine walls around his feelings. "Other people's emotions are not yours," she explained. "You can feel them, but you do not have to carry them." For Hannah, she brought a coin. Focus on the coin, only the coin. When you feel yourself slipping away, hold on to the coin in your mind. It will anchor you. Junho was the hardest. His dreams were powerful, too powerful for such a small child. "When you dream," Hyun told him, "remember that dreams are just possibilities. They might happen, they might not. You are not responsible for what you see." The children did not understand why they were learning these things, but they trusted Hyun. She was patient and kind, and she never made them feel strange or broken. One night, 2 weeks after they arrived, Taeyang caught Hyun standing by the window. The moonlight hit her at a strange angle, and for just a moment, Taeyang saw something impossible. Hyun had no reflection in the glass. Or rather, her reflection was wrong. It shimmered, like heat waves off hot pavement, and behind the shimmer was something else. Something with scales. "Hyun," Taeyang whispered. The shimmer vanished. Hyun toned, and she was just a janitor again. "What is it?" "Taeyang." "Your reflection. It was—" He stopped. How could he explain what he saw? Hyun knelt down in front of him. "What did you see?" "You look like the things in Junho's drawings." He pulled out a crumpled paper from his pocket. Junho drew it yesterday. It showed a woman with scales and wings, breathing fire at stars. He calls her the Dragon Lady. Hyun stared at the drawing. Her heart hammered in her chest. Junho's prophetic dreams were showing him the truth. "It's just a story," Hyun said softly. "Just imagination." But Taeyang was sensitive to emotions. He felt the fear rolling off Hyun in waves. "You're scared," he said. "Why are you scared?" "I'm scared of failing you," Hyun admitted. It was the truth, just not all of it. That night, Hannah had a nightmare. She screamed, and the sound brought everyone running. When Hyun reached her room, Hannah was half-phased through her bed, stuck between solid and not solid, crying in panic. The other children backed away, frightened, but Hyun rushed forward and grabbed Hannah's hand. She pushed just a tiny bit of her own energy into the girl, stabilizing her, pulling her back to solid form. Hannah collapsed into her arms, sobbing. "Sure, it's okay," Hyun whispered, rocking her. "I've got you. You're safe." "I'm a monster," Hannah cried. "I'm a freak." "No," Hyun said fiercely. She pulled back and looked into Hannah's golden eyes. "You are special. You are rare. You are precious. Never let anyone tell you different." "But I can't control it," Hannah said. "You will," Hyun promised. I'll teach you. I'll help you. All of you. Minji stood in the doorway, watching. How do you know how to help us? She asked quietly. How do you know what we are? Hyun looked at the 4 children, her children, and felt the weight of a secret crushing her chest. They deserved the truth, but the truth could kill them. Because I've known people like you, Hyun said carefully, and they were wonderful. It was not a lie. She had known people like them. She had loved their fathers. She had created them, but she could not tell them that. Not yet. The next morning, Director Bora pulled Hyun aside. There are people in town, she said quietly, asking about children with strange eyes, asking about newcomers. She looked worried. Hyun, what's going on? Hyun's blood went cold. The hunters had started their search. It had taken them 2 weeks to work through the colony's population, checking every settlement. Now they were here. Director Hyun said slowly, if someone came asking about the 4 new children, what would you tell them? Bora's face hardened. I would tell them we have many children here, and they are all registered properly. I would tell them to come back with proper legal documents if they want information. She crossed her arms. I would tell them to go to hell. Hyun felt a rush of affection for this brave human woman. They might be dangerous. I've dealt with dangerous people before, Bora said. I was a soldier once, long ago, before I found better ways to fight. She looked at Hyun carefully. Those children are special, aren't they? That's why people are hunting them. Yes, Hyun admitted. Then we protect them, Bora said simply. That's what we do here. We protect children. That afternoon, 3 figures in dark uniforms came to the orphanage. They were tall, too tall, with movements that were too smooth. They wore human faces, but Hyun recognized what they were underneath. Dragons in human form, just like her. Director Bora met them at the door. Can I help you? We're looking for children, one said. His voice was cold. 4 children with gold eyes. We have reason to believe they are here. We have 40 children here, Bora replied calmly, many with different colored eyes. If you want to inspect them, come back with a warrant from the colony administrator. The Dragon Man smiled. It was not a nice smile. We don't need warrants. On this planet, you do, Bora said. She did not back down, did not flinch. This is human territory. We have laws. Behind her, Hyun watched from the hallway, keeping the 4 children behind her. They were quiet, sensing danger. Junho gripped her hand tightly. The Dragon Man looked past Bora and locked eyes with Hyun. For a moment, something passed between them. Recognition. Question. Then his eyes moved to the children, and Hyun saw his expression change. He smelled them. He knew. We'll be back, he said coldly. After they left, Bora turned to Hyun. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. Tell me everything. So Hyun told her. Not everything, but enough. She told her the children were hunted by powerful people. She told her they were different, special, maybe not entirely human. She did not say she was their mother. She did not reveal she was a dragon. Bora listened quietly. Then she said, How long do we have? Not long, Hyun admitted. They'll come back tonight with more soldiers. They won't ask next time. Then we prepare, Bora said. She looked at the 4 children huddled behind Hyun. We protect our family. Hyun felt something warm bloom in her chest. Family. Yes, that was what they were now. They came at midnight. Hyun heard them long before they reached the orphanage. 20 soldiers, maybe more, moving through the darkness with weapons that hummed with energy. She stood by the window in the main hall, watching their lights approach through the trees. Behind her, Director Bora was preparing. She had called the townspeople, the farmers and merchants and workers who lived near the orphanage. They came with whatever they had. Old hunting rifles, farm tools, flashlights. They were not soldiers, just humans who refused to let children be taken in the night. The 40 orphans slept upstairs, unaware of the danger, all except for Minji, Taeyong, Hannah, and Junho stood with Hyun, refusing to hide. You should be in bed, Hyun said softly. We're the ones they want, Minji replied. Her young face was set with determination. We won't let others die for us. Your children, Hyun said. So are the others, Taeyong added. If we run, they'll hurt everyone looking for us. Hyun wanted to argue, but she felt the truth in their words. These were her children, brave and selfless. They had their father's courage and something else, something that made her chest ache with pride and fear. The soldiers surrounded the orphanage. Their leader stepped forward into the light. He was tall and broad, wearing the black armor of the Imperial Dragon Guard. His face was hard, carved from stone. But Hyun knew that face. She had known it for 100 years. Vexthor, her former general, her friend, once, before the betrayal. Come out. His voice boomed across the yard. Send out the hybrid abominations, and no one else needs to suffer. Director Boris stepped out onto the porch. 20 townspeople stood with her, forming a human wall between the soldiers and the orphanage door. These are children under my protection, she called back. You have no authority here. We have the authority of the Draconis Imperium, Vexthor replied. We rule this galaxy. You are nothing but prey playing at civilization. We are citizens of New Haven, an old farmer shouted, and we don't bow to bullies. Vexthor laughed, cold and sharp. Brave word from creatures who die so easily. He raised his hand. Last chance. Give us the children. No, Boris said simply. The soldiers raised their weapons. Energy rifles, plasma cannons, tools designed to kill dragons. Against humans, they were weapons of total destruction. The townspeople stood their ground anyway, holding their useless guns and farm tools like they could make a difference. Hyun felt something break inside her. These humans, these fragile, brief-lived creatures, were willing to die for children they barely knew. They stood against impossible odds because it was right, because it was good, because that was what humans did. She had hidden for 3 years. She had run and hid and pretended to be small. But she was not small. She was Kael'Vira, Empress of Dragons, and these were her people now. All of them. The children sleeping upstairs. The townspeople standing in her yard. Her four impossible, precious children behind her. Vexthor, Hyun called out, stepping through the door. The humans parted for her, confused. It's been a long time. The general's eyes locked onto her. For a moment, he showed nothing. Then his expression changed, shock and recognition flooding his features. Impossible. You're dead. I saw you die. You saw me fall, Hyun corrected. Dragons are hard to kill. You should have remembered that. She walked forward, past protective line of humans, into the open space between the two forces. The night air was cool on her skin. Above them, stars watched in silence. Kael'Vira, Vexthor breathed. He recovered quickly, his face hardening again. The Empress who abandoned her people, who lay with humans and created these monsters. They are not monsters, Hyun said quietly. They are children, my children. Behind her, she heard gasps. The 4 children, Minji, Taeyong, Hannah, and Junho, stared at her with wide golden eyes. She had not meant to tell them like this. She had wanted time, wanted the right moment. But there was no time left. Your children. Vexthor spat the words like poison. You betrayed everything we are. Our blood, our empire, our very nature. For what? For these weak creatures. For love, Hyun said. For the chance at something better than endless war and conquest. There is nothing better than strength and power, Vexthor replied. He gestured to his soldiers. Take them. Kill anyone who resists. The soldiers moved forward. The humans raised their weapons, hopeless but unbroken. And Junho screamed. It was not fear. It was warning. The boy's eyes rolled back, his prophetic sight overwhelming him. They'll kill everyone. I see fire. I see death. He collapsed, convulsing. Hyun moved without thinking. She was beside him in a heartbeat, cradling him in her arms. Her maternal instinct overrode everything else, every caution, every plan. Her hands glowed with soft golden light as she pushed healing energy into her son, stabilizing his mind, pulling him back from the vision. The glow was unmistakable. Dragon magic. Forbidden dragon magic that only the royal bloodline could use. Vexthor's eyes widened. "Open fire," he commanded. 20 energy rifles discharged at once. Plasma bolts tore through the air, aimed at the humans, at the children, at everything. People screamed. Children woke up crying upstairs. The world turned to chaos and light. Hyun rose to her feet, still holding Junho. Her human disguise shattered like glass. Scales erupted across her skin, golden and shimmering. Her true form burst forth, not fully, but enough. Dragon scales formed a shield around the entire orphanage, a dome of living armor that absorbed the weapon's fire. Every shot hit the barrier and dissolved into nothing. The soldiers kept firing, but their weapons were useless against true dragon hide. Vexthor stayed in amazement and horror. "Stand down," Hyun commanded, and her voice carried the weight of imperial authority. "I am Kael'Vira, rightful empress of the Draconis Imperium. You serve me." "You abandoned that right," Vexthor snarled. "You chose humans over your own kind." "I chose compassion over cruelty," Hyun replied. "I chose building over destroying. I chose love over fear." The other 3 children stared at their mother's transformed state. Minji stepped forward slowly, reaching out to touch the golden scales on Hyun's arm. They were warm, alive, beautiful. "You're like us," Minji whispered. "You're different, too." "I'm your mother," Hyun said softly, looking at all 4 of them. "I'm sorry I hid it from you. I was afraid. Afraid of what you'd think. Afraid of failing to protect you." "You are protecting us," Taeyong said. He could feel the love radiating from Hyun like heat from a sun. "We're not afraid of you," Hannah added quietly. Junho had recovered from his seizure. He looked up at Hyun from where she held him. "You're the dragon lady from my dreams. You're always protecting us there, too." Something stirred in the 4 children. Their dragon blood, dormant until now, recognized its mother, recognized its source. Power flowed between them. Parent to child, a connection deeper than words. Minji felt strength flood through her, real strength, controlled and focused. Taeyang's empathy expanded, touching not just emotions but the very life force of things. Hannah's phasing became clear, purposeful, a gift instead of a curse. Junho's vision sharpened, showing not just fear but hope, not just what might happen but what could be changed. The 4 children joined hands instinctively. Their golden eyes blazed with light. They moved to stand with their mother, and together the 5 of them created something new. A combined power that was neither fully dragon nor fully human, but something else, something unprecedented. The light that burst from them was blinding. It was warm and cold at once, soft and hard, gentle and fierce. It washed over the soldiers, over the townspeople, over the orphanage. It did not hurt anyone, but it showed them all the truth. In that light, Vexthor saw the future. He saw what hybrid children could become. Not abominations, not weaknesses, but bridges, evolution, a future where dragons and humans did not need to be enemies, where strength and compassion could coexist. He fell to one knee, his soldiers following, not in defeat, but in recognition. "Empress," Vexthor said slowly, "what have you created?" "Hope," Hyun replied. She looked down at her children, these 4 impossible, beautiful children. "I've created hope." The barrier of scales faded. Hyun returned to her mostly human form, though traces of gold still shimmered in her eyes. The children's power settled, still there, but controlled now, connected. The townspeople stood in stunned silence. Director Bora was crying, though she was smiling too. One of the farmers started clapping. Then another. Then all of them, these brave humans, applauded, not in fear, but in celebration. "Mom," Minji said tentatively, testing the word. Hyun pulled all 4 children close, holding them tight. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm your mom. I've always been your mom, even when you didn't know it." Vexthor stood slowly. "The council will not accept this," he said. "Others will come. Stronger forces. The full Imperial fleet." "Let them come," Hyun said. She looked at the general, her old friend. "I'm done running. I'm done hiding. If the Imperium wants my children, they'll have to go through me. Through all of us, Director Bora added, stepping forward. The townspeople murmured agreement. Vexthor looked at the humans, at the children, at his former empress. Something changed in his expression. I need to think, he said finally. I need to report this. But Kael'Vira, what I saw in that light, I cannot unsee it. He signaled his soldiers to withdraw. They left slowly, confused but obedient. Vexthor paused at the edge of the yard. You were always the best of us, he said quietly. Perhaps that's why they feared you. Then he was gone, and the orphanage stood in silence under the stars. The sun rose over the orphanage like any other morning, but everything had changed. Hune sat in the kitchen with her 4 children, no longer hiding who she was. The other orphans knew now, too. Some were scared. Most were curious. Children adapted quickly to impossible things. Tell us about our fathers, Minji said. She held a cup of hot chocolate, her hands wrapped around it for warmth. You said you loved them. Hune looked at each child in town. They deserved the truth. All of it. Your father, she said to Minji, was a soldier named Daehune. He found me after I crashed on this world. I was dying, broken, barely alive. He could have turned me in for a reward. Dragons were not welcome here, but he hid me instead. He nursed me back to health in his small apartment, risking everything. What happened to him? Minji asked quietly. When the first hunters came looking for me, he fought them. He died buying me time to escape. Hune's voice cracked. He was brave, just like you are. She turned to Taeyong. Your father was a merchant named Kiwon. He was clever and kind. He made me laugh when I had forgotten how. He taught me that strength was not just about power, but about understanding others. He died in a shuttle accident while carrying supplies to refugees. He was trying to help people, always trying to help. Taeyong wiped his eyes. I wish I could have met him. He would have loved you, Hune said. You have his heart. Hannah looked up with her shy golden eyes. My father, a scientist named Jinwoo. He was gentle and curious about everything. He proved that dragon and human DNA could combine, that we were not as different as everyone believed. The Dragon Council killed him for his research. They called it heresy. Hune touched Hannah's cheek. He died protecting his wake, protecting the proof that you could exist. Finally, she looked at Junho. The youngest boy watched her with ancient eyes, too old for his small face. Your father was a farmer named Young-ho. He owned a small plot of land far from the cities. He taught me how to grow things, how to be patient, how to find joy in simple work. He showed me that being powerful was not as important as being good. He died of old age, peacefully, never knowing about you. I wish I could have told him. The children were quiet, absorbing their histories. They came from love, all of them, from men who chose compassion over fear, who saw someone in need and helped. That was the human way. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, Hune said. I was afraid of so many things. Afraid you would hate me for leaving your fathers. Afraid you would hate what you are. Afraid I could not protect you. We don't hate you, Minji said firmly. The other 3 nodded. You're our mom, Taeyong added. That's all that matters. Director Bora entered the kitchen, her face serious. Hune, we need to talk. The colony administrator called. More ships are arriving. Big ones. The full Imperial Dragon Fleet is coming. Hune stood, her peaceful moment shattered. How long? 3 days, maybe 4. They are demanding the colony hand over the hybrid children or face destruction. Bora's hand shook as she poured coffee. The administrator wants to evacuate the orphanage. He is offering transport off-world. We should go, Minji said. We should run. We've caused enough trouble. No, Hune said sharply. Then softer. No more running. Not from this. But they'll destroy the whole colony, Hannah whispered. All because of us. Not because of you, Hune corrected. Because of their fear, their hatred of anything different. She knelt down to look at all 4 children. You did nothing wrong by being born. You are not mistakes. You are not problems to be solved. You are my children, and you have every right to exist. But we can't fight a whole fleet, Taeyong said. He felt the hopelessness in the room, the weight of impossible odds. We won't fight alone, Director Bora said. I sent messages to the human resistance networks, people who have been fighting dragon tyranny for years. They are coming. That's still not enough, Minji said. She was practical, always thinking ahead. We need more than brave people with guns. Junho spoke up, his small voice cutting through the worry. The nice dragons are coming too. I dreamed it. The ones who liked Mom before. They are flying here to help. Everyone looked at the boy. His prophetic dreams had never been wrong. Vextor, Hyun breathed. He saw what we created. He saw the light. Hope flickered in her chest. His bringing others. Over the next 3 days, the orphanage became a fortress, not with walls and weapons, but with people. Humans arrived from all over the colony. Farmers, teachers, doctors, mechanics, soldiers. They came because word had spread about the orphanage that refused to surrender children. They came because humans protected their own. Hyun trained her children. No more hiding, no more pretending their abilities did not exist. She taught them in the open, showing them how to use their dragon gifts properly. Minji learned to channel her strength with precision. She could lift massive objects without breaking them, fight without killing, protect without destroying. Her father's soldier discipline mixed with her dragon power created something remarkable. Taeyong learned to extend his empathy outward, not just feeling emotions but projecting calm, courage, hope. He could sense enemies from miles away, feel the intentions of others. His father's merchant wisdom taught him to read people and situations. Hannah mastered her phasing completely. She could move through walls, dodge attacks, become untouchable. But more than that, she learned to phase others, to pull people through solid objects to safety. Her father's scientific mind lived in her creative use of her gift. Junho's visions became clearer, more controlled. He could see multiple futures branching out, showing possible paths. He guided strategy, warned of dangers before they appeared. His father's patient farmer wisdom helped him understand that growth took time, that futures could be cultivated like crops. Together, the 4 children were formidable. But they were still children, still learning, still scared sometimes. On the 3rd night, ships appeared in orbit. Not dragon ships. Human resistance vessels, old and battered but armed and ready. 50 ships, maybe more. They positioned themselves between the colony and the expected Imperial fleet. And with them came something else. 10 dragon ships, smaller than Imperial warships, bearing the old colors of Hyun's original guard, the dragons who had followed her before the betrayal. Vextor had kept his word. A message came through to the orphanage. Vextor's face appeared on the screen, serious but determined. Empress Kael'Vira, I have brought those who remember the old ways, those who believed in your vision of peace. We are not many, but we are yours. Why? Hyun asked. Why risk everything? Because what I saw in that light changed me. Changed us all. We have spent centuries believing dragons were superior, that humans were prey. But your children prove something we refuse to see. That combining our strengths creates something greater than either alone. That is not weakness. That is evolution. Behind Vextor, other dragons appeared. Older ones, warriors with scars and wisdom. We will stand with you, Empress. We will protect the children. We will fight our own kind if we must. Tears rolled down Hyun's cheeks. Thank you, old friend. The next day, the Imperial fleet arrived. Hundreds of ships blocking out the sun. The flagship was massive, a city in space, armed with weapons that could crack planets. The fleet commander sent a message that boomed across every speaker in the colony. Surrender the abominations. Last warning. You have 1 hour. The colony administrator sent back a simple message. No. Director Bora stood with Hyun and the 4 children on the roof of the orphanage, watching the sky. The resistance fleet and the rebel dragons positioned themselves in defensive formation. It looked pitiful compared to the Imperial Armada. We can't win this fight, Minji said quietly. Maybe not, Hyun replied, but we can show them why we're worth fighting for. She looked at her children, these 4 impossible miracles. Whatever happens next, I want you to know I am proud of you. prouder than I have ever been of anything. Your fathers would be proud too. We love you, Mom, Hannah said. The other three nodded, holding hands. The Imperial fleet powered up its weapons. The Resistance prepared to fight. The rebel dragons moved into attack formation. And on the roof of a small orphanage on a backwater colony world, a mother stood with her children and waited. The hour ended. Space erupted into fire and light as a battle for New Haven began. Plasma bolts streaked through the void. Ships exploded in brilliant bursts. The Resistance fleet fought with desperate courage against impossible odds. But in the orphanage below, 40 human children slept peacefully, protected by people who believed some things were worth dying for. Family, love, the future, hope. The real battle was just beginning. The battle raged in the sky above New Haven for hours. Human Resistance ships darted between massive Imperial warships like insects fighting eagles. Vexthor's rebel dragons fought their former brothers with fierce determination. Explosions lit up the darkness of space like deadly fireworks. But everyone knew the truth. The Resistance was losing. For every Imperial ship destroyed, 3 Resistance vessels fell. The massive flagship had not even entered the battle yet. It hung in orbit like a dark moon, waiting. Inside the orphanage, Hune felt every death. Every brave human who died protecting her children. Every rebel dragon who fell fighting their own kind. The weight of it crushed her heart. We have to do something, Minji said, watching the battle through the window. People are dying for us. Your mother ordered us to stay inside, Director Bora said. But even she looked torn. The sky was falling, and they could only watch. Junho suddenly gasped, his eyes rolling back. Another vision. Taeyang caught him before he fell. What do you see? Taeyang asked. The flagship, Junho whispered. The commander wants to fight Mom personally. He's calling her out. If she doesn't come, he'll destroy the whole colony. Everyone. All the cities. Millions of people. Hune closed her eyes. Of course, the Imperial fleet did not care about Resistance ships or rebel dragons. They wanted her. They wanted to make an example of the Empress who chose humans over her own kind. Then I go, Hune said simply. No, all 4 children shouted at once. You'll die, Hannah said, tears streaming down her face. Maybe, Hune admitted. But if I do nothing, everyone dies. At least this way, you live, the colony lives. We're coming with you, Minji said. It was not a question. Absolutely not. Your children. I won't let you. We're your children, Taeyang interrupted. We're half dragon, half human. We're what this whole war is about. If anyone should face them, it's us. Together. Hune wanted to refuse. Wanted to lock them away somewhere safe. But she looked at their faces, their golden eyes blazing with determination, and saw their fathers in them. Saw courage and sacrifice and love. How could she deny them the right to fight for their own future? Together then, she said softly. As a family. Director Bora hugged each child tightly. Come back to me, she whispered. All of you. Hune transformed fully for the first time in 3 years. Her human form melted away, replaced by her true dragon body. She was magnificent, golden scales shimmering, wings spreading wide enough to cast shadows across the entire orphanage. The children stared in awe at their mother's real form. But then something unexpected happened. The 4 children began to glow. Their dragon blood responded to their mother's transformation. Scales appeared on their skin, golden like haze but mixed with human softness. They did not become full dragons. They became something new, something in between. Minji grew claws that gleamed like metal. Taeyang's eyes turned completely gold, seeing not just with sight but with pure empathic sense. Hannah's body flickered between solid and transparent. Junho's small form blazed with prophetic fire. Climb on, Hune said, lowering her massive head. The 4 children climbed onto her back, holding tight to her scales. Then Hune launched into the sky, her wings beating with thunderous power. The battle paused as dragons and humans alike stared at the sight. The lost Empress returning, carrying 4 hybrid children on her back. It was impossible. It was beautiful. It changed everything. The Imperial flagship opened a hangar bay. An invitation. A challenge. Hyun flew straight into it, landing in the massive empty space. The bay doors closed behind them, cutting off escape. The Imperial commander waited for them. He was ancient, covered in black scales that looked like armor. His name was Krathzor, and he had ruled the Dragon Council for 500 years. He had ordered Hyun's execution. He had ordered her children's death. "Kael'Vira," he said, his voice like grinding stone. "You should have stayed dead." "I tried," Hyun replied, her children still on her back. "But it turns out I had something to live for." "Those abominations." Krathzor sneered. "You destroyed our purity for them. You betrayed your own species for weak, short-lived humans." "I did not betray our species. I tried to save it. You're the ones who betrayed everything we could have been." "We are perfection." Krathzor roared. "We are the apex of evolution. We do not mix with prey." Junho spoke up, his small voice somehow carrying across the hangar. "You're afraid. I can see it. You're afraid we're better than you." Krathzor's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Kill them." Dragon guards rushed forward from all sides. 20 Imperial warriors, each one massive and deadly. Hyun prepared to fight, to die protecting her children. But the children had other plans. They leaped from her back, working together with perfect coordination. Minji met the first guard head-on, her hybrid strength matching his pure dragon power. She was smaller but faster, more creative. She fought like her soldier father would have, with strategy and precision. Taeyong did not fight physically. Instead, he projected emotions at the attacking dragons. Fear, doubt, hesitation. His empathic power, amplified by dragon blood, confused and disoriented the guards. They stumbled, attacking each other by mistake. Hannah phased through attacks, untouchable and impossible to catch. But more than that, she phased through the guards themselves, disrupting their internal energy, making their bodies betray them. They collapsed, not dead but helpless. Junho stood still, his eyes blazing. He called out warning seconds before attacks came. Left, duck, jump now. His siblings moved like they could see the future because, through him, they could. The 4 children fought as one being, their powers mixing and combining in ways that should not have been possible. Dragon strength and human cleverness. Dragon magic and human creativity. Dragon power and human heart. They defeated all 20 guards without killing a single one. The children stood together, breathing hard, scales glittering with sweat, but victorious. Krathzor stared in shock. Impossible. Not impossible, Hyun said. Inevitable. This is what happens when we stop fearing each other, when we choose to build instead of destroy. The old dragon commander roared and launched himself at Hyun. He was huge, ancient, powerful beyond measure. His claws could tear through starship hulls. His fire could melt stone. But Hyun did not fight alone. Her children surrounded her, and together they channeled something new. Hybrid fire. It was not the pure destructive flame of dragons, nor the weak flickering of human fire. It was both and neither. It burned with compassion and strength, with gentleness and power. The fire washed over Krathzor, and it did not destroy him. Instead, it showed him truth, showed him centuries of war and death, showed him the future if dragons continue their path of domination, extinction, loneliness, endless empty conquest with no meaning. Then it showed him another future, dragons and humans working together, hybrid children bridging the gap, peace, growth, something better than either species could achieve alone. Krathzor fell to his knees. The ancient commander, who had ruled with fear for 5 centuries, wept. What have we done? He whispered. What have we become? Vexthor's voice crackled over the communication system. Commander Krathzor, do you yield? The old dragon looked at Hyun and her 4 children, these impossible, beautiful creatures that proved everything he believed was wrong. I yield, he said quietly, not to force, but to truth. The battle in space stopped. Ships on both sides held their fire, waiting. Krathzor sent a message to all Imperial forces. Stand down. The war is over. I have seen the future, and we are on the wrong side of it. Some ships obeyed immediately. Others hesitated, unsure. A few refused and jumped away into hyperspace, choosing hatred over change. But most stayed. Most wanted to see what happened next. Hyun transformed back into a human form. Her children returned to their mostly human appearances, scales fading but golden eyes still glowing. Together, the family walked out of the flagship and returned to the planet below. The orphanage grounds were crowded when they landed. Humans and dragons stood together awkwardly, former enemies trying to figure out peace. Director Bora ran forward and pulled all 4 children into a crushing hug. "I'm getting too old for this," she said, crying and laughing at the same time. The colony administrator approached nervously. "What happens now?" Hyun looked around at the crowd. Humans who had fought for her children. Dragons who had chosen compassion over hatred. Her 4 beautiful, impossible children who represented a future nobody had imagined. "Now we rebuild," Hyun said. "Not a human world or dragon empire, but something new, something better." 5 years passed. The orphanage became a school, teaching both humans and young dragons. Hybrid children arrived from across the galaxy, no longer hunted but protected. The war was not completely over. Pockets of resistance still fought on both sides, but the tide had turned toward peace. Minji trained as a guardian, protecting hybrid children throughout the galaxy. Taeyeon became an ambassador, his empathic gifts helping negotiate peace treaties. Hannah researched hybrid abilities, finding new ways dragons and humans could work together. Junho helped identify other hybrid children through his visions, bringing them to safety. And Hyun went back to work as a janitor. She mopped floors in the evening, cleaned windows in the morning, and tucked her children into bed at night. She had been an empress once, ruling over stars. But she found more meaning in this simple wake, more purpose in raising children than she ever found in ruling empires. One night, there was a knock at the orphanage door. Hyun opened it to find a young woman holding a baby. The woman's eyes were terrified. "Please," she whispered, "they say you protect children like this. Children who are different." She pulled back the blanket to reveal a baby with golden eyes. Hyun smiled gently and took the child. "We do. Come inside. You're both safe now." As she carried the baby inside, she heard Minji, Taeyong, Hannah, and Junho coming down the stairs, already awake, already ready to help. Her children, her family, her hope for the future. The janitor closed the door against the night and went to work. There were bottles to warm, blankets to fold, and a future to build, one child at a time.